8, 7, power, 6, 5, power, 4, power, 3, 2, one more. Good. Sit here. Roll under the bed. Good job.
That long hole. That's it. Start that.
I made the decision to train in DC because, I haven't been there.
They went through a lot of health problems, a lot of permanent things. I understand the philosophy. You get into the sport, leave your mark, and then leave it there. Everyone's opinion is different, and everyone has different goals in life, Ellerby said. It has been confirmed that the rematch for the WBA lightweight title between Davis and Roach will headline the August 16th fight card. Their first bout was mired in controversy, with the final scores being 115-113 Davis, 114-114, and 114-114. While these scores largely reflected what took place in the ring, a case was made that Roach deserved the decision. However, most objective observers did not consider the decision a robbery. The controversial moment came in the 9th round, where questionable officiating potentially impacted the direction of the fight for the remainder of the bout.
Train in DC because, I haven't been in the coldness in a minute. I haven't even trained in the coldness in a minute, so I feel as though this will help me. I'm from Baltimore. He's not from DC. That's what I learned. I thought he was from DC too. DC my second home. I've been coming up here since I was 9 years old, even younger. So I'm not really trying to get in his personal business.
The decision to bring back Calvin Ford was always a no-brainer, especially considering how poorly Gervonta Davis performed in the one match where Ford wasn't in his corner or involved in his training camp as head trainer. To avoid a similar mishap, Calvin Ford has now resumed his rightful place.
Yeah, how many rounds? We fight there. But you in the back for about 8 too? Yeah. You got that shit.
The footage begins with Gervonta Davis engaging in intense training to rebuild his power. Known for avoiding excessive weightlifting and muscle building, Tank believes it slows fighters down. He even once trolled one of his opponents for relying too much on muscle.
Get the fuck
But after seeing how ineffective his punches were against Lamont Roach, Gervonta Davis has decided to incorporate weightlifting and muscle building into his routine. The footage then shows how he typically starts an average day, with an early morning jog, followed by a warm-down session, breakfast, and preparation for the day's training. His routine includes sparring, shadowboxing, mitt work, and specific drills focused on speed, punching accuracy, and head movement. It's clear that Gervonta Davis isn't taking this fight lightly, especially after the first bout handed him the only loss in a boxing record he had built over more than 30 fights.
Get the rim, baby. Get the rim, baby. Dance with this shit. Right? Wait, go, come down.
Davis is training hard in the gym for his upcoming test and appears to be taking things even more seriously than he did before the first fight. And the reason isn't hard to see. Baltimore's champion and his next opponent, Lamont Roach, delivered one of the most intense boxing matches of 2025. If there's any fighter capable of testing both Davis's skill and resolve, it's Roach. He's already proven that. Recently, Gervonta Davis made a surprising revelation, admitting that his biggest fear is being embarrassed and mocked by boxing fans, the kind of mockery he faced after taking a knee against Roach on March 1st.
Tank being a winner, they sparred a few times. Tank got the best of his spars. They're just bigger and stronger now, older.
There's some word out there that Lamont.
In a conversation again, Davis has brought Calvin Ford back to oversee his training sessions, the same man who has been with him since he was a young boy, and taught him the science of boxing all the way to becoming a world champion.
Older.
Now, there's some word out there that Lamont said, he got some film that don't make Tank look too good. What could that? How could that affect? The outcome of the
Shit, man. Tank, last 4 or 5 opponents all have film like about how they beat him up his barn. If that's the case, that shit happens. But fight night.
In a conversation with Fight Hype, Calvin Ford reflected on Davis and Roach's past meetings and battles. The Baltimore-based coach acknowledged that Roach fought a great fight and has now pushed the button, putting the pressure squarely on Tank to respond, something the boxing world eagerly awaits. Ford noted that he and Roach have known each other since their amateur days, competing in events like the Silver Gloves. They grew up together, he said. Addressing critics, Ford added, "People keep asking, why Roach? Because he took the fight, and it's good for the community." He emphasized the history of back-and-forth battles between Davis and Roach, saying, "It's going to be a pretty interesting fight, because Roach comes to fight. I think it's a great fight." According to Ford, it's bound to be an interesting fight because Roach never shies away from exchanges and always comes to fight, despite his reputation as a technical, skilled boxer. While fans initially had mixed reactions, given that this marks the third time the World Boxing Association champion has chosen an opponent from a lower division to defend his title. Ford wasn't surprised by the criticism. People are going to do that. That's what fans do. They give bad criticism, he said, addressing the backlash fighters like Tank Davis face when repeatedly taking on opponents perceived to be from smaller weight classes.
That's a good fight. That's a real good fight. I would love to see that. That's scrappy. That'll be a scrappy fight.
Hey, how you compare the styles?
I got Sufi boxing a little bit more than Roach. Roach can box, but to me,
How you put your balance felt right?
I remember when everyone was saying I should let Pitbull fight Tank again. They were all talking about that, Ford recalled. And then, when he won that World Boxing Association light welterweight belt, boom. I don't get involved with all that. I just prepare him and get him ready to put on a great performance for the fans and whatnot. Like I said, we just focus on the fight in front of us, and that's the fight in front of us, Ford said, speaking on Roach being the next title defense for Gervonta Davis in August. It remains to be seen whether Roach will use the experience from their previous encounters as a stepping stone to hand Davis the first official loss of his career.
a little bit more than Roach. But Roach can box, but to me, he's more of an inside fighter. He fight better on the inside.
And Lamont Roach. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lamont Roach is gritty, man. Lamont Roach is gritty. What do you think? Tell me if I'm right about this or not. Best dude at 130 is O'Shaquie Foster.
Oh. I don't know about that. I like Foster. He's tough, though.
After his body exercises, the world champion moved on to the mitts and punching bag, testing his punch power. He then engaged in sparring with an unknown partner before taking a short break. During the break, he looked into the camera and said, "Taking it all out on March 1st. According to Boxing News 24 source, Gervonta Davis is already working on his fitness and is almost at weight for his upcoming title defense. He's also preparing for the road to retirement, something his promoter Leonard Ellerbe acknowledged in a recent chat for the laboratory with Plaz. Fans were eager to question why Gervonta Davis is going so hard in his preparation, especially since this doesn't appear to be one of the toughest fights of his career. His previous bouts against Ryan Garcia and Isaac Cruz were certainly more challenging, Yet he seems to be pushing himself harder than ever this time. The reason could be linked to his recent announcement that this might be his last year in boxing. Davis likely wants to give it his all and leave the sport on a high note, with the loudest ovation. The video showed Tank doing body exercises, stretches and push-ups, demonstrating his commitment. The lightweight world champion has missed weight several times in his career, and to avoid a repeat of what happened in his last fight, where he missed his grand arrival because he was on the road jogging and trying to make weight, he's clearly putting in the extra effort this time.
Guy rocking Roach.
Over Oshaki?
Yeah. Roach can crack, man.
Wow.
They're rocking with Roach.
I think this is the first time we part, bro, on this one.
Huh?
I think this is the first one we part on this one.
Yeah.
I think I
Roach
gotta
can get that.
take Oshaki, man. Oshaki, only thing with Oshaki is Oshaki got a little bit
After his body exercises, the world champion moved on to the mitts and punching bag, testing his punch power. He then engaged in sparring with an unknown partner before taking a short break. During the break, he looked into the camera and said, "Taking it all out on March 1st. According to Boxing News 24 SAO, Gervonta Davis is already working on his fitness and is almost at weight for his upcoming title defense. He's also preparing for the road to retirement, something his promoter Leonard Ellerbay acknowledged in a recent chat for the laboratory with Plaz. They went through a lot of health problems, a lot of permanent things. I understand the philosophy. You get into the sport, leave your mark, and then leave it there. Everyone's opinion is different, and everyone has different goals in life, Ellerbay said. It has been confirmed that the rematch for the WBA lightweight title between Davis and Roach will headline the August 16th fight card. Their first bout was mired in controversy, with the final scores being 115-113 Davis, 114-114, and 114-114. While these scores largely reflected what took place in the ring, a case was made that Roach deserved the decision. However, most objective observers did not consider the decision a robbery. The controversial moment came in the 9th round, where questionable officiating potentially impacted the direction of the fight for the remainder of the bout.